Hello traders, welcome to another video on this channel, and in today's video I'm going to share a setup, explain a setup, and go through why my previous prediction was so wrong. Well, it happens, it's normal. Well, so at the moment this is currently Gbpusd, right? And so I am currently in a trade on both Gbpusd and Eurusd. And so without further ado, let's go in and then see how I got myself into these trades. So you can see I have marked my range, the swing high to the swing low, and currently price is being rejected from the 87.5 daily range level, which is extreme premium. And then when you look right to the left of that, you see that there is this order block right here. Okay, we have this order block, and so all I am interested in with this trade is going into this level where price is currently at, and make meaning of where it's going. Okay, and I'm going to make a separate video on where I think the dollar index and then Euro USD, GBP USD will be heading to for the next 3 months. And so let's see. Okay, so this is the monthly. Let's move into the weekly and then make meaning of whatever is going on right here. Okay, so in the weekly you can see we just fell short of tapping this, the 87.5 level, whereas here we already did that. Okay, so let's move into the daily and then see what the daily and then the 4 hour, and then we can make proper meaning of it. Okay, so this is it. So what you see here is me taking the 87.5 daily range where price has already tapped and failed to touch again, and then the 75 DRT level. Let me show you this to you guys on the weekly. Okay, sure. Let me show this to you guys on the weekly. Exactly, so this is what I mean. So you see that is the entire daily range from the monthly. This is the entire daily range from the monthly. And so what I have done is that I have anchored my Feb high to this 87.5 level, right? This 87.5 level, and I've anchored the low to the 75 level. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the 87.5 level as my high and the 75 DRT level as my low, as my swing low. Okay, so now let's go back into the daily and then make sense of this. Good. Exactly. Now this is exactly what we want to see. And then from here you see that the reason why we rejected from this 87.5 level is that there is an order block, a bearish order block, seated exactly at the high of the range, at the very high of the range, this bearish fair value gap. Okay, sorry, I mean bearish order block. So we tap into that bearish order block, we break below the 87 and then the 75 DRT level, and then we've been selling. Look at where we printed the next fair value gap, below the 62.5. we dropped, we're straight to the 12.5, which is extreme discount. And then at the extreme discount, what do we see at the immediate left? we have this swing low where there's a pool of liquidity, and then we have this bullish fair value gap. So we tap into that, run up, and then come to the 50% of the range. What sits at the 50%? This bearish order block, and then we are seeing what, a drop. Okay, so now we move into the 4-hour. We move into the 4-hour. Exactly. So now inside of the 4-hour, things become a lot better, or a lot clearer, if I should put it. A lot clearer. So now this is where the order block was, as you can see from the daily. Exactly, this is where price was rejected from. So we can mark that out. Before we had that breakdown, you see, so that is where price broke down, leaving this order block. Price comes back to tap into that order block, and then we see how price runs quickly, getting to the 12.5 extreme discount. As price breaks down, look at what it does. It leaves this fair value gap just above the 50% level before it drops. Price returns back where to this bearish order block, this tiny bearish order block, runs down, leaves this. Okay, leaves this bearish order block here, then comes down again, breaks down, leaving this bearish fair value gap right at the 37.5 level. Right at the 37.5 level. So follow my cursor, right? This 37.5 level. So price taps into that, and then when I see this, I know this is prime shot for me, because we have an order block here at the 50 level. We tap into it, so we have this as our proportion block, bearish proportion block, right? We come back into that again, form another bearish order block here. We tap into that here, and this bearish order block leads to the formation of a bearish fair value gap exactly on the 37.5. And so I knew this was, going to be a good trade for me. That's why I got in there, right? That's why I got in there. So at the moment, this is a 1:5.6 trade, and I can just this, and already I'm almost at a 1:2. I am almost at a 1:2 on this trade, which is already good for me. Almost at a 1:2 on this trade. Okay, but my target is the low, the very low of the range, and I could just decide to take my profit here and then be out of the market, and that's going to be almost a 1:4 for me with this trade. Okay, almost a 1:4 for me with this trade. Okay, so let me just quickly run into use the same for Eurusd, and then you can see already how the setup is also playing over here. Okay, so now for Eurusd, let's move into the 3-month chart for us to look at something. Now you see on GU I used the monthly daily range. Now I'm using the 3 months daily range. This is just to show that, whichever range you use, we are going to end up at the same place. Okay, and this is why I said this is a bit of what I said I was going to do, right? To tell you guys where I think the market is going. So for the next 3 months, I'm expecting a bearish candle for EU and GU. So DXY should be bullish. Why? Look at this. From this swing high to this swing low, look at where we started this year. So this was from January to March, so that's the first trimester, right? This was first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and now we are left with the last quarter, the fourth quarter of the year. And I expect that will drop into this bullish order block, which sits exactly at the 25 TRT level, and then from there we can target buy side liquidity. Okay, so this is just this is just by the way. So let's just move into the lower time frames and then make sense of it, of the rest, right? And so right here on the monthly, I would have loved to see price tap into this bearish order block, which is exactly at the 37.5, but then price fails to, and then we are having this. So the actual target we want to see is what? The 25. But at this moment, the only thing I'm interested in is what's happening between these levels, the 37.5 and then 25 level, and how we are going to get there. Okay, and so moving to the weekly, and in the weekly doing the same like we did for Gbpusd. This is the 37.5 level, and then this is the 25 level where we are expecting price to get to. So I take the fib and call the high to the 37.5, the low to the 25, and then let's move into the daily to get a clearer picture. Okay, let's move into the daily to get a clearer picture. Now this is it. Now inside of this range as well, we see that price touches the 87.5 of the range between those levels, right? Breaks down, goes up again. There is this inverse fair value gap right here. Let me good so that you guys can see that for yourselves. We have this inverse fair value gap right here. So we feel that we break down, and then look at where we leave this order block, exactly on the 75 TRT level, exactly on the 75. So we run back into that, and then from there, what have we been doing? Just dropping. Okay, dropping. Let's go into the 4 hour and then make our final deductions inside there. Okay, and so this is it. The 87.5 breakdown, go back up, fill that inverse fair value gap, touch it on the 4 hour, then we drop. You see a drop where into that order block, and on the 4 hour we have a fair value gap here. We have a bearish fair value gap. Now see how price respects that bearish fair value gap. The moment it touches it, look at the way it starts moving down. Okay, and so over here too, the moment I saw that price broke this 62.5 level, left this bearish fair value gap exactly there, that is where my my entry was. That is where my entry was. So you see how price respects these levels. Tap and run, tap and run. Here it wicks through it, and then it falls. Okay, and then it drops. And so my target is just between the two levels, the 62.5 and then the 50. Okay, the 62. And mind you, this is not the 62.5 and 50 of the 3 months daily range. It's only between the space between the 37.5, right, and the 25 of the monthly daily range. Okay, just the levels. And so now this is the target, and this is a 1:6.2 trade. 1:6.2 trade. Okay, this is a 1:6.2 trade. And so guys, I really keep saying that these levels, they've got some magic to them, right? And I'm really appreciative of Ali Khan for sharing this knowledge and my little way of figuring things out for myself. Now, before I end with this video, I made this GBP JPY analysis in the previous video, and I'll just run through it to see why things went so wrong on that. Because I just simply tried to, force my opinion on the market, right? And I paid dearly for that. So now when we look at this 3 months range, what do we see? Where do we think price is going? That's all we need to do. We see that price would like to target this high and then possibly reach this 75 level. Why? Because there's a swing high that sits there at this partially filled fair value gap, and then when you look to the left side of it, there is an inverse fair value gap seated right here where my cursor is. Okay, right? And so on the 3 months, we do not see any reason to have this retrace. Then when you look, price has already tapped into this order block at the 50% and is pushing up. Let's go into the monthly and then look at this. So now you see that this is where the order block is, the 50%, and then I was anticipating a drop from here because of this green candle here, and of course from the weekly, like I did explain in the last video. So you see, I was expecting this to cause price to drop, but because on the 3 months, the higher time frame, price was not giving anything that it wants to move down. This bullish order block, this red candle here, price comes down over here, finds support on it, and then look at what we did. We just blew through this 62.5 bearish fair value gap, and so from here, anything that comes down, we know we are going to find support from it to target this buy side liquidity. And then when you move into the 4 hour, you would see that price is already finding support from this level. Okay, oh sorry, that was not supposed to happen. This was not supposed to happen. Good, yeah. And so this is it. Price blows through it, absolutely blows through it, forms this order block, right? And then price comes back, taps into it, and then it's running. So anything that comes down, we are going to find support from there to run to the upside. Okay, so let's just wait and see. I paid dearly for trying to impose my opinion on the market, whereas I should have just obeyed, looked before I leaped, like Trading View would say. And so guys, this is how I got myself into these setups, and this is why that GBP JPY trade did not work out. So thank you guys for being here. This is a bit longer than the previous one. I hope you do find some some value in this. And so DRT, thank you, see you in another video.